Hi there. There's lots of psychology going on in the whole climate change denial arena, and there was an article by a woman called Norgaard who thought it was probably racism or something related to it that made people climate deniers. I'm not, that may be true. I'm not really a super psychologist, but I do have a theory about it, and that is basically that it's herd mentality, that it's the herd dynamics. If you have a herd of any species, and you have predators out there that can hurt it or degrade it or reduce the status, then of course the individuals in the herd will try to protect themselves. And of course the strongest, they will look at each other, whether they're strong or weak, and whether they're, let's say, going to be the next prey. And but if there's an animal in that herd or an individual that feels it's weak, by definition, that really knows it's weak, it's hurt or something like that, it will try to get inside in the middle of the herd, so it's not on the outside when the predator comes. And it will try to pretend that it's healthy while it's not healthy. So it will try to pretend that it has a strong position while it basically doesn't know what that position is. It's just outside showing, let's say, non-weakness. And that's exactly what's going on with I think with the climate deniers. They don't want to go into the argument because they don't like arguing, they don't like reasoning. There's lots of people that don't like that, or they just don't understand it, or they just they think it's too depressing. All these type of reasons. What they just want is to appear strong, so they're not going to be the next victim, and they're not going to be let's say perceived as to be the next victim of whoever comes around and tests their mental capacity. In order to do that, they go to somebody with a strong position, which is not really a rationally strong position, because the whole process is not driven by rationality. It's driven by the more primitive vitality argument. I think that vitality is one of the most, let's say, primary driving force which explains the behavior of the dominant groups in our society. They want to be vital, they feel vitality, feel alive, feel, let's say, safe, secure. And so where do you go to then? Well, you go to a guy with a barbecue and lots of bacon and a big car and like a prostitute wife and all kinds of bigoted, thick-headed opinions which make him appear strong. You go to a bully and you imitate the bully. That's basically what you're trying to do. You're not the bully. You don't know, actually. You have no real motivation to have any opinion, actually. You just don't want to be bothered with talking about it, because it makes you either feel inferior or weak, or you don't know your way. You don't want to be confronted with people on that level. You don't want to be confronted in an argument. So that's where I think climate denial comes from. It might be the same as racism, the place where racism comes from. The people really don't want to be challenged on considering themselves equal to others, or from that look different, which is, let's say, kind of a strange notion, because if something looks different, then why isn't it different? You know, people look black, they're different than us, so they must have other properties, probably. That's like probably something that is at the basis of some kind of racism. But the funny aspect of this is that it can be completely reversed. It can be completely, let's say, the group that is now a climate denier can be completely converted, if you will, to being pro-renewables, which is the opposite. Basically, you can be a climate denial person, and of course there's no reason to be for renewables. You can be pro-renewables because then basically everything becomes costless and free and clean and everything. And so, but the only thing you need to do, and that's basically the barrier, is present somebody in the media that does that in a way that you think, okay, well, that's a hamburger guy. That's a guy I can relate to. He's eating a lot of bacon. He has a big car. He has a prostitute wife. He has this bigoted opinion. He's a racist, maybe. I can relate to that. He has a strong mind. He just doesn't want to be bothered with all the details. He's a leader. And the media is all about preventing that. Is all about making sure that doesn't happen, because it could happen. And you see actually if you start looking, that's just simply not what the media presents, because it's the carbon credit driven media, which is wholly dependent on the carbon economy, carbon driven banks, and not on a renewable economy, because there will not be a renewable economy. There will be a life with renewables, but not an economy as we know it right now, which is a completely, let's say, a parasitical construct. All kinds of intermediaries in the system that don't work. Well, they won't be intermediaries anymore, and people won't have to work as well, because with renewables you can avoid a lot of work, because machines can do your work, and robots can do your work. You have all these technology. Anyway, that's a complex argument, but really what I think is a key is that you present the renewable economy thought, which can also be eco-restoration, which means that you have lots of things growing around everywhere, lots of life everywhere, green forest, animals, trees, lakes, places to go to on holiday, enjoy a nice, free, clean life, healthy, all that stuff. You can also have that. That has to be presented in a way that basically appeals to the non-rational person, the person that basically doesn't like to be intellectually challenged. And I have to make, let's say, a little remark here, is that I'm not against people that don't like to be intellectually challenged or anything. I don't think it is an intellectual argument at all. To me, it's not an intellectual argument. I simply want to have a pension. I want to have a long life. I want to be healthy. I want to feel like I'm not killing myself. That would be preferable, and I would like to see less masochists around me. That's why I'm for renewables. I think there's all kinds of higher aspirational motivations, and those are usually highlighted. You get this little girl reading, in tears, that we are humanity, we should be good. No, we should be alive. Vitality is the main driver, and vitality should be the primary, while it's now the primary driver behind self-destruction. Because Cheney says we need this lifestyle. People say, I don't want to be bothered, just give me my barbecue, give me my SUV, give me my big house, my swimming pool, I want to live now. No, that vitality is running into a wall, because it was misdirected, it was used, the drive was abused by people that want to sell you something, like, if it wasn't oil, then you would have 1 million shoes or 7,000 lawn mowers or whatever crap they can sell you with the same arguments. And because the primary impulse is to hurt with the wrong concept. So let's say the Rush Limbaugh climate denial camp. You go completely the wrong way, and that way is extremely expensive for you, because you have to buy everything time and time again, because it's made to be destructed so that it uses more carbon and gets more cash flow going in the economy, and actually you're constantly reminded that so that's I think a very fundamental thing for climate deniers to understand, is that it's not wrong to want to have a strong, simple opinion about something and not be intellectually challenged or be bothered by people arguing with you and be able to finish it. But next time somebody comes to you and says climate change, you say yes, it's very serious, and we should get as much renewable power as we can, because then everything becomes cheaper, and my life becomes cheaper, and my pension will be secure, and my health will be better, and my medical care will be cheaper. Everything will be cheaper because the energy doesn't need to be bought from anybody anymore. We just generate it ourselves. Simple. If I have a barbecue that I don't have to buy coal for, of course that's a cheaper barbecue. It's not less valuable because the meat is still good that comes off it. Say that. It's also very simple. And I guess what people can bring to the arena is present that idea in a way that makes you understand that it's your idea as well. It can be your idea as well. It fits in your whole picture, and that's something the media doesn't want to do. So maybe I'm going to do it with my Climate Babe initiative. If you like it, you can follow the link below here, and we get some hot girls to talk about this, and maybe we get a barbecue as well, and we explain this. To the people that are very rational, because we just, if you talk about climate deniers and people that don't like rationality too much, which is fine, because it's not always a solution to what you know. There's not always, let's say, intellectual obstacles between you and what you want to get to. So if you want to buy a car, you need money. If you can borrow the money, then you can buy the car. There's no rocket science there. I think that the big difference, there's two types of people. One is that people that are trying to prepare for an action, and I'm one of them. I'm very rational. I'm very, let's say, I'm very careful, and I'm trying to amass lots of arguments. So people that are preparing for action and people that are acting. It's the other kind. So basically the people that are waiting to find where to push forward with their lives, and people that are, let's say, people that want to be very careful about how they push forward with their lives, and people that actually are pushing for something because they know that they want that and they think that that's going to be a success. Some noises upstairs, I don't hope you hear them. And so people that are very rational about climate change and very argumentative should learn to push for something, because that makes them reach a much larger audience than trying to argue, because then they argue with people that like to argue. And those are not the activists. They are not the movers in the world. The movers are the people that push for something. So I advise anybody that is, let's say, that understands the climate problem, after being very rational about it and considerate and seeing all the arguments and learning about history and geology and all that stuff, to start push for one thing that they think is most useful. And so my tips would be renewable energy, made with renewable energy. If you can make renewable energy sources with renewable energy, then the limit of renewable energy that you eventually get is unlimited. The amount is unlimited. Renewable energy creates jobs. We can restore the ecology. We don't have to create a water market. We can make water because we can desalinate it using renewable energy. Push for one thing. Choose one, push for one thing, and just make as much simple arguments for it as you can, and try to adopt it to the climate denier, non-rational pusher, the person that wants things. I want a house, I want a car, I want a barbecue, I want to have the big cash prize, I want to win the lottery. See, that's just you can explain how that works mentally. If you cannot construct your goals because you are very knowledgeable, then somebody can present it and give it an emotional charge, and you just want that. If you're not able to recognize the process, then you're gonna be programmed by other people, because you cannot follow how they are doing that, and you just think, okay, well, this is fantastic, I need to have this right now. You need to have renewable power right now. So people that are very rational about it, very considerate about it, very argumentative about it, should know that they do have the right motivation, because they constructed it themselves, because that's necessary, because it's not in the public domain enough, in my opinion, yet. So they constructed it themselves, it is correct, but now they should start pushing it in a very simple way. There's lots of wind in my, it's like we have a polar summer here in Europe. I'll quit this video because otherwise it says that the video is too long. But thanks for listening, and I hope this is useful. Thanks for listening.